Question of the day from Daniel in Houston. Dave, I got about 70 team members and we're growing like crazy. I used to know everyone personally, but now I feel disconnected from the culture. How do you stay engaged as a leader when your company outgrows your direct reach? You don't. I don't even know everyone's name that works here now. There's 1,100 of them. I used to know everyone's name, their spouse's name, and their dog's name. I knew everyone's illness and their freaking birthdays. And but there's no, it's impossible when there's 1,100. Oh, and by the way, 150 leave every year, and we hire another 175 or 200 with our growth curve. And so just about the time I did get it figured out, they'd screw it up again. So no, you can't keep up. What you can keep up with, and what you do need to do, is to make sure that their immediate leaders, one of your leadership principles is the leader that they are reporting to knows them, knows their spouse, knows their problems, knows their personal things, everything, and is very involved and loving them and caring about their future and wondering how they can grow and how they can do better and correcting them and all of that. That leader needs to have a real pastoral, pastor-like involvement with their team and deeply caring. So what I can do is I can hold my leaders accountable to hold their leaders accountable to create that kind of one-on-one environment. And then I know it's happening, but I don't personally know so-and-so who broke their leg and we're praying for them. Okay? I really don't. That's happened. Unless I happen to work near them. Actually, a guy that does work here in the booth broke his leg, so they're all in there laughing right now. But I do know him, but that's not what I'm talking about. But I mean, there's people on the other side of the building. I don't know what the flip's going on with them unless it's something major, life-threatening or whatever. And so we worked on this so hard for so long. At one point, we had 512 people, and I had the entire operating board. We made up flashcards with people's names and faces and position. And we'd hold it up with I had their name and their position on the back of the card and their face on the other side. And we memorized everyone's names in the whole company when there was 512 of us. All the operating board did. And that lasted about 4 months. And then there was enough change that we couldn't keep up with it. It's just freaking impossible. I was so distressed, I couldn't stand it. I wanted to keep knowing everybody. I wanted to always do that. And now, I'm standing in line getting a hamburger in our cafe today, and I'm talking to a guy, and he's like, "Hey, good to meet you finally. I hadn't run into you." And I'm like, "Hey, how long you been here?" 7 months. I hadn't even met the guy. He'd been in the building 7 months. That's just the way it is. There's 1,100 of us. I can't keep up with all of it, and I'm gone a lot. And that's, oh well. So but it does kind of break your heart. It is a thing. And the way you handle it and keep the culture to be maintained, a caring culture, a culture of involvement, of engagement with the team, is you make sure that the leaders are doing that. They're direct leaders. And you have to make sure your leaders are leading the direct leaders to do that, however many layers of leadership that you have. But so in my case, I laid it in place as a cultural icon among the leadership team that's how we treat folks. And if you got 10 people on your team and you don't know every one of them and you don't know their spouse's name and what's going on in their lives, then you're not leading well at Ramsey. But if you've got 1,100, you're not expected to. And so, that's the breakdown on that. But the way you stay engaged is you make sure that the leadership layers are fully engaged. And that way you create a culture of caring, a culture of prayer, a culture of direct involvement, of course correction, accountability, encouragement, recognition. All of those things happen at that level of direct relationship. They do not happen from a CEO of a company that has, if you're the top guy out of 70 people, you probably ought to know all 70 when there's only 70, but it's not that big a deal. At 70, I did know everybody. At 500, I had memorized all of them, and it lasted 4 months. I just told you the story. So it was just too much. And we actually had a board retreat and had a contest, and me and one of the other board members squared off and were the two winners. And one of the lady board members actually beat me. I missed one out of 100 and something times we went through the thing, and she got them all straight. She had them all dialed in. But she's actually smarter than me, so it's not fair. I'm a victim, actually, but which is not a position I very often take. So, yeah, you teach people to love. You teach people to love inside the organization, and it is a condition to be a leader here that you love your team and that you know what's going on with your team. That's how we do it. That's the whole process.